Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We are joined with Maya today. Maya, do you want to just quickly jump straight into yourself?
What? What the fuck?
Tell us about what you do.
I'm Maya. I'm an actress slash filmmaker. My most recent project was a web series that I wrote, directed and acted in for a series on YouTube. The best thing was your face when you realised what you just said.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We're joined today with Maya. Should we just kick it off? Maya, do you want to talk about yourself? What do you do? What's your sort of future plans? Talk about the stuff that you've been working on so that people know.
Yeah, I'm Maya. I'm an actress slash filmmaker. My most recent project was a web series that I wrote, directed and acted in for a series on YouTube.
What was the sort of how did the idea come across to do a YouTube series? Because it's and do pretty much everything like you just said.
Yeah, I mean for the series it was I'm a member of the National Youth Theatre. So when lockdown first started, they were giving us these sort of weekly tasks to do where just to keep us busy, where we could go out and make a short film or a monologue or something. And so I was doing those every week, and then they gave us this one task about making something about the internet and something itself. And I just got really sort of fixated on it and interested in it, and was doing all this research into sort of YouTuber drama and controversy and all of this sort of stuff. And I just started writing something because I wasn't working at the time and everyone was in lockdown and it was so boring, so I was just like, might as well do this. And then we got backing from National Youth Theatre, so that's when it all sort of came together.
How long did it take you to do each of the the stages, like the writing, the producing, directing, and then to the final product?
The writing probably took about 2 weeks. We had a couple of writers, so I would sort of write the first draft, then have discussions with some other people about what we should put in, what we should take out, what should stay in, things like that. And so altogether, that process probably took about 2 weeks. We then had about a week of casting. We got loads of self-tapes in, which we didn't expect to have. So me and my co-director spent about a week going through them all, asking for second tapes and things like that. Once we had the cast filled, then there was about 2 other weeks of pre-production, mostly trying to figure out how to film on Zoom, because I've all my film stuff in the past has been in person with cameras and lighting and sound and everything like that. So you would think that Zoom would be easy, but it actually was really, really difficult to work out, especially when you're trying to film a narrative story, because you can't have characters speak over each other. You have to hear everything they're saying, but at the same time, it's so difficult to do that and still try to make it feel natural. 2 weeks of pre-production, then a week of rehearsals with the cast, and then we did all of the filming for all week. It was basically 9 to 5 every single day, multiple costume changes for everyone. We would start filming something in episode 1, and in the afternoon we were filming episode 6, and it was just complete madness. But we just sort of went, this is the only way we're going to do it, because everyone can clear this 1 week in their schedules and then it's done. So we finally managed to film it. We did a couple of pickups at the weekend. Then there was about 2 weeks of most of the editing, for sort of the final drafts and things like that, because we were releasing it weekly. We would do the final drafts a couple of days before just to make sure everything was right. But most of the editing was done in 2 weeks. And then the final thing was to have our composer who composed the music for the series. He would, which he was brilliant, because it wasn't just, you know, we weren't putting music to what we'd already filmed. He was literally creating a soundtrack to what we filmed, which is a guy that was on my film course in college. So he's been a really good person to network with. I know nothing about music, but I think we ran into a couple of problems with that, which ended up, I think when we finished the series and all the editing and the music, we released the first episode probably about a month later after we wrapped filming. And then it was about, an episode a week after that.
And how was the response towards sort of like, obviously controversy coming out? Did you get many views? Did you get many people watching it? What was the feedback like?
Yeah, so surprisingly, we got a lot more views than we were expecting. We were sort of, you know, it was a passion project. We were just, you know, you would message the cast and be like, hey guys, put this all on your Insta feeds and stuff like that, promote it wherever you can. But we were just sort of like, we like what we've done, so we'll put it out there, see what happens. And yeah, we got a really good response for it on Facebook, and I think a big part of it was National Youth Theatre sort of promoting it on their pages and things like that. Someone I know is doing a theatre festival, but online, because we can't go to theatres. And Controversy is going to be a part of it.
Cool.
Which is really cool, because we just never expected it to actually go anywhere. And now it kind of is.
Nice. Which film festival has it been submitted to?
It's the Living Record Festival. It's going to be part of Brighton Fringe in February or January or something.
Have you been to Brighton Fringe much? Out of curiosity.
Yeah. I have done a lot of shows in the Brighton Fringe.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I love going to see what's there. Often it's really weird stuff, which can be quite fun to watch.
Have you watched Drunk Shakespeare?
No, I try and get tickets every year, but by the time I want to go, they're all sold out. And
I'm still trying to get tickets as well. Don't worry, we're in the same boat.
No, like I've heard so many good things about it, and I'm passionate about Shakespeare as well. So I really try and get tickets, and they always sell out so quickly because their shows are just so.
Do you want to explain the premise of what Drunk Shakespeare is? Or I mean, I can if you want.
So it is, they do a different Shakespeare show every year, and one actor in the cast has to get absolutely pissed on stage. I think there's a bell next to the stage, and every time one of the audience members ring it, the actor has to drink. So the best thing about it is it's like an ensemble piece. So when one actor is stumbling and can't remember their lines, and all the other actors have to try and continue the show without, they try to make it seem like nothing is wrong, which is just the best concept ever.
Well, someone else, they get so blackout drunk. It's so funny.
I mean, the stuff I've heard about how they have to do like their health and safety training is I
bet. I mean, that seems like a sweet gig. Getting absolutely rat-assed and just trying to do Shakespeare. Because Shakespeare, from what I gather, is hard enough as it is. Like, the sort of pentamic rhythms? Whatever rhythms.
Yeah.
And like just like the wording of it. I've tried to read Shakespeare in the past. I'm no good at it. I'm genuinely the worst person that you'll get to read Shakespeare with, but imagine doing it drunk. Seems really fun.
But I mean, that's what most of my nightmares are, is me going on stage and then not knowing my lines or not knowing where I'm supposed to be. It's the actor's worst nightmare, so I don't know how they do it.
Diving in a bit more into sort of the acting part with you personally, did you get trained anywhere in particular?
Yeah, so I started dance classes when I was 3. Always wanted to be a dancer, then got to about 10 and I wanted to be a singer, which sort of led me by the age of about 12 to go into drama classes. And I've never stopped since. It was just for a attention-seeking tiny girl like me, it was heaven. Having people watch and sit down and just watch you on stage. It was amazing. And, you know, I sort of thought that it was a hobby and I'd end up going on to do something else. And then I sort of got to college and went, no, actually, this is what I want to do. And obviously everyone around me was like, that's such a stupid idea because you're going to be unemployed for most of your working life. I was like, yeah, I don't care though. I'm fine. So I did a double performing arts degree at Sussex Downs College, and then took a gap year in London where I did a lot of acting. And then last year we finished just like a couple of days before we went into lockdown. I did a foundation course at Rose Bruford College in acting, which was insane and difficult, really difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've sort of been in performing arts training for as long as I can remember.
It's one heck of a thing to go into. I know that any of my mates who are like aspiring actors as well, they always tell me that, well, I always tell them that you just have to have a lot of balls to go into the industry. It's a lot of risk that you're putting on for the next however many years, because like some people get trained for years upon years. I mean, I think in Russia you have to be trained for 7 years classically to really go out and just be an actor. Here it's a bit less. But from your foundation course, what do you plan on doing in the future? Do you plan on going back into sort of drama school, or is it just going full throttle, Brighton Fringe, creating shows, producing, whatever?
Yeah, so I mean the plan was to go full on into acting. I've got an agent and I'm doing a lot of that stuff. I remember it was ages ago and I met the comedian Jimmy Carr.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
Love that man.
A whole thing where my cousin is his agent, basically, so she got us backstage. And
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I always remember it because you know, he was like, oh, what do you want to be when I grow up? And I was like, an actress. And he was like, oh.
oh, what a cold response.
You know, made a lot of jokes about it and it was really funny. And then when I was leaving, he went, just remember that the way to get work in acting is to make roles for yourself. Which is, you know, part of what Controversy was about. It was the acting industry is breaking down at the moment, so let's make a role for myself. But yeah, I mean, the plan was to just go straight into the industry, but lockdown and COVID happened, which, I mean, most filming productions have just stopped altogether. And you know, I've started to miss training. I've started to really miss it, and I am thinking about auditioning for drama schools, seeing what comes of it. I mean, it's 4 years, but most successful British actors have been to drama school.
Which ones do you reckon you might apply to if you were to choose?
Yeah, RADA, Lambda are the big two. Central is not my cup of tea. Bruford, I had a really good time on their foundation course, so definitely a top choice. But I mean, it's so, most of the drama schools, you don't know anything about them until you actually get there and see what it's like.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the goal in 10 years' time? Like, what's after everything's said and done? What do you want to have achieved?
Yeah, so 10 years, I definitely want to have made at least one feature film. That is a big goal for me. I would love to be working in theatre. Like I said, I love acting, but I hate the idea of fame. It really sort of puts me off. This whole idea of like Hollywood big celebrity things, like makes me feel nervous.
That's interesting though, because you said you like the attention. So would that not be? That's quite strange. I think not strange, but you know what I mean. That's quite like different to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think when I was younger, it was really sort of Hollywood centric, and then I have a few friends who, you know, have been on big TV shows and stuff like that, and we used to go out clubbing together, and they just get asked constantly to take pictures, and you know, they'd have these like weird fan club Instagram pages, and it's just
it's quite cringy. Yeah,
that's quite weird.
Yeah, so the sort of the glitz and glam of it all sort of became this, oh, you can't go out shopping without people stopping you, and you can't, you know, people know who you are. Well, they think they know who you are without ever meeting you. It just really terrified me. I was like, I don't want that with my life. I mean, if it happens, it happens, and you find ways to deal with it. You know, put on a disguise and all of that.
with the mask now, it's easier. You can just put a mask on.
Yeah,
that's true.
So if anything, this is a blessing.
But I mean, the good thing about theatre, especially Shakespeare, is you can make a living off it, and you can do incredible stuff with incredible teams, and most people don't know your name. It's brilliant.
That's sick. See, I wouldn't mind. I feel like I'm the opposite with this fame. Maybe I have your childhood like sort of dream. Like I don't think fame would be too bad, because like you said, you'd have so many like different ways that you would overcome these like situations. Like going to the shop would be annoying, because obviously you have all these people come up to you, but then you got to realize like, I'm actually sick. Like that's what I'd be like.
The thing is though, how long does that last? Like
what, the fame?
For the first week, 2 weeks, a year, maybe it will be really cool, because you've gone from nothing to then being really famous. But then what happens 10 years down the line when you're still getting all of that attraction? At what point does it then become like annoying?
Yeah,
probably from day one it'll be annoying, but it's also like quite nice to, like you said, have the attention. I think to see your name all over the place and have people come up to you as like fans, that's pretty cool, I think. But then it's going to be annoying
trying to like take your kids to school, and like you can't, because you just keep getting stopped by people. Like it just,
to be fair though, once you say so what I thought, right, just on the spot with stuff like that, so say you go to the same shop all the time, so say you have like your local Tesco's or something, and you live in like wherever, you're really famous, blah blah, if you're constantly going there, people are going to keep seeing you. So at the start, a few times they're going to be like, oh look, it's George again, oh it's Maya, but then they'll be like, oh wait, he keeps coming here, and like it's not actually as sick anymore. So at the start it'll be all right, but then people will just get used to you.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But it's still gonna be annoying no matter what. Like fame comes with this like
Well,
it's not just a win-win. Like
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's amazing things about it too, like the networking stuff. You get invited to these amazing parties.
You get to work on so many different projects that you might not have been able to do before.
Yeah,
especially in the film industry and acting, you'd get so many opportunities which would benefit your career so much as well.
Yeah, it would. I mean, that's sort of the one thing that I'm kind of like, oh, I would like to be famous, because then I get these cool acting roles. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
What's out of curiosity on the subject of acting roles? What's your dream acting role? If you could like act as any character that's been portrayed on TV, theatre, regardless, what's your dream role?
Hamlet.
All right, this is pretty simple then. Sure.
Yeah.
You thought about that question. You generally had that answer ready.
Yeah. No, I did. I played him in a sort of final production in college, but it wasn't Hamlet in the West End. That's it. And Lady Macbeth, but I have to wait till I'm a bit older to do that.
No, that's fair.
I just want to quickly touch back on the YouTube series that you put up, just for my own kind of personal reasons, really. Did you edit all the videos yourself?
Yeah, I did. Took a long time and lots of. I was sort of still getting used to the new version of Premiere Pro because
Nice.
Yeah.
before that I've been working through iMovie, which
Nice.
is very different.
It sounds very familiar to us.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
very familiar, though.
We're trying to make the switch at the moment, and I've got the first week of editing on Premiere Pro, and there's just so many buttons. I don't know what to do.
It is. It's really sort of, especially going from something like iMovie where, you know, you just have all these shortcuts and stuff. It's just really easy to use. And then you try and switch over and it's just, you know, to do the same thing that you would do on iMovie, you have to do like 5 different things to get that one thing. But I mean, once you get used to it, it's like, oh, I get why you have to do these 5 things because it makes it so much better. But it is difficult.
I think it's worth it too as well, because especially with iMovie, it's such a basic sort of app. But with Premiere Pro, you have so many like opportunities and how to do stuff as well. And that's obviously why that's like your YouTube series actually looks good, because the editing is actually like quality. So yeah,
really
no, you should be proud. Yeah, you should be proud of that. It's actually really good. Like,
Oh, thank you.
no worries. So
I'm glad it took a long time.
So we're talking about the series because you briefly mentioned before starting the episode, you said that you're sort of working on a secret project. Obviously you don't tell us if obviously you don't want it known yet, but can you sort of give us like a rough idea on what's sort of next on the agenda?
So the next project it's a short film, about 20 minutes.
Nice.
It is the true story of my great grandfather, who was he was what is called a Cantonist, which were these young Jewish boys who were kidnapped from their communities and their parents in the 19th century and basically taken to these horrible places where they tried to convert them to Christianity. You know, and it's this incredible story about endurance and faith, and sort of, you know, he came back to his family after 30 years of serving in the army when he was taken away when he was about 12 years old. Just, you know, the most incredible story. Eventually moved to London, which is where my great granddad was born, and then my granddad, and then my dad, and then so it's this really sort of amazing, really personal story. And yeah, I was sort of trying to find funding for it, and nothing is on at the moment. You know, these competitions and funding things that usually happen are just non-existent because all the production companies are like, well, you can't film it right now. So we're going to try and kickstart it, which should be interesting.
Cool. When are you planning to put like the Kickstarter page out? Because then we'll just like link it in our bio, or we'll do it on our YouTube, Instagram story.
Yeah. So we're in the process of, we've got a pitch video, but we want to make it better. So we're in the process of making a better one with some really cool people on the team, really sort of highly trained producers and camera people. I don't
Cameraman.
know.
I like that. Cameraman.
Yeah.
Cool.
Camera people. We'll keep it to camera people.
Some really cool people on board. So I think we're going to film that in a few weeks, and then again, we've got a really good colorist, which is something I've never worked with before.
What
But
what is a colorist?
Yeah,
Sorry.
what is it?
yeah, so they basically sort of color grade and color correct all of the footage, which is really cool because I mean you can really see a difference. You know, all these films that use color palettes and stuff, they try their best with the setting and the clothes, but most of it comes down to color grading. So we've never worked with someone like that before, but first time for everything, and it
Seems
should
really cool.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it should make it look really good. Fingers crossed.
Fingers
What's-
And then
crossed.
yeah, so probably in about a month or so we should have the pitch video out.
Nice.
What sort of like things are you using to film? Are you using proper cameras or are you using iPhones?
Yeah, so I usually work with my DSLR, which is a Canon 600D. So it's quite an old camera by now. I mean, the most important thing for cameras are lenses. So you know, I mean, we bought this camera about 3 years ago for like 500 quid, and we just use the standard lens. And then a better lens is about $2,000. So it, you know,
Jeez.
Yeah.
mental how much these lenses cost. So we were thinking about possibly hiring a lens, something like that. And then I got a message from a guy who was like, I love the look of this. I've got like a professional 4K, like one of those massive camera things. Want to use it? And I was like, absolutely.
That's sick.
So we just need to find someone who knows how to use one of them, because it's, you know, DSLRs start and stop shoot, whereas these are like, again, like iMovie and Premiere Pro, you have to do 5 different things before you can actually start recording.
Cool. And like, how much are you looking to raise for this sort of project?
Yeah, so at the moment, we're sort of set between 6 and 10 grand. So yeah, I mean, still for a short film, generally that's quite a low budget, but you know, we're a new team working together, and we don't want to
Yeah.
you know, try and raise so much money and then just end up going, we don't know how to handle all of this.
Yeah. Completely fair.
And
Yeah.
it's quite doable as well, 6 to 10 grand. Like you said, it's quite a low budget for a short. Obviously, I didn't know that until you said that, but it's not the worst. I thought you were about to say like sort of like 30 grand. I was thinking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
it's not too bad then. That's sort of
Yeah,
doable.
I mean, it feels achievable. We wouldn't really want to put something out there and be like, oh yeah, we want to raise $1 million, and then you know, because that's just never going to happen. We want something that feels doable.
Imran, do you
Cool.
remember how much Elliot spent on his one?
$3,000.
3.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had another guest on who had their feature film. We'll put you into contact with him if you want. It
was
sounds
gonna
like you're
say.
doing very similar things.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But yeah, he produced a film on his great grandfather. He was a prisoner of war in Italy, and he did a whole film about it. Sorry, I'm not doing it justice. Sorry.
On $3,000.
Yeah, no, he did it over. So he started writing it when he was 13.
I'm pretty sure he used his iPhone as well.
Yeah, and then he, over the years, as his family got like some money to buy a camera, he just used the family camera. But yeah, no, it took him like 4 years to do, and it was produced. Well, it got to Brighton Fringe. It was pretty good, to be fair. he's coming out with his other film in 2022. But yeah, no, he's doing a very similar thing to you. I say definitely get in contact with him
Yeah,
because
no, I will.
his name's Elliot Hasler. I'm sure we'll have like a link in the description for the podcast if anyone out there wants to watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it sounds really similar.
Yeah, it does. It's why it suddenly came to my mind. I was like, you know what? They're basically doing the same thing here. Like,
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it sounds really cool. Best of luck with it.
Yeah.
It sounds like a mammoth task, but I mean,
Yeah.
we believe in you. You can do it.
absolutely.
Thanks.
It's all right. All right.
And of course, once like everything does sort of kickstart and like sort of start flowing, of course, we'll help promote it and get it out there and
Absolutely.
Thank
watch
you.
it for sure.
It's all right. Just literally give us a text on our socials, any one of us,
Will
and
do.
we'll put it on the. But yeah, all right, cool. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think that might be about it.
Yeah.
Unless there's
Yes.
anything else that we want to talk about.
There is one final question.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Every episode, it has to be asked. I mean, I'm pretty sure earlier on, Imran kind of meant I asked this question, but we'll go again.
Mhm.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
5 years time, making a feature film. I was going to say on the way to making a feature film, but no, making
No.
Love that.
and in a place where I can earn enough to make a living from acting and filmmaking.
Cool.
Awesome.
Oh, good luck to it. I think you can do
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
5 years is a long time. Something can change just
Yeah.
like that.
Feels like it, as long as it's not like 2020.
Yeah, fucking please,
Yeah,
God.
Thank
please.
God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where
At
do you
least
see us-
Biden
You know what? I'm gonna one day. I hope someone asks me because I'm just gonna say lockdown. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Lockdown still.
Lockdown.
Yeah,
still.
lockdown. Oh.
But yeah, once again, we do appreciate you jumping on the call.
No, thank you for having me. It's been really
Yeah.
fun.
Definitely. If anyone out there's watching, if anyone else there's still watching, I fucked up the outro.
All of our socials are in the description. The film stuff will be in the description.
Sorry.
Everything you need to know about mine will be in the description.
There.
Cheers, Imran, for fucking it up.
You're welcome. Anytime, lads.
But for real, we appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah.
And
Thank
that's
you.
it for us, for the Unstructured. We'll see ya later.
In a